If you're following the scientific literature right now on cosmology, on the nature of the universe, in quantum physics, etc., then you may have heard the phrase, and you can check it out on the internet. The phrase is being used a lot, and it's called local realism is dead. That the universe is actually non-local. So what does that mean? Well, we were taught a simple story. There's a world out there made of separate things. This, that, etc. Okay? So there's a world out there made of separate things, each with its own fixed properties, interacting locally. Remember Newtonian physics, one bump at a time. Okay, billiard balls bumping into each other. But they're not just billiard balls, everything. So, and these things are each with their own fixed properties. Modern physics has quietly overturned that story. Through a series of profound experiments, nature has told us that that picture is too small. Local realism, the belief in a world of separate, locally interacting, already formed objects cannot describe what is actually or really happening. What emerges instead is a universe that is irreducibly relational, deeply entangled, and in a precise sense non-local, no location in space or time. So as we explore this, I invite you not just to understand it with the mind, but to feel what it suggests about who and what you are. Let's begin with the old intuition. Realism says that the world has definite properties, whether or not anyone is looking. The electron is spin up or spin down. The moon is there, fully formed, even if no one ever turns their gaze to the sky. Remember, Einstein famously said the moon would still be there if no one was looking at it. Turns out he was wrong. Locality says influences travel through space step by step. What happens here can affect there only by sending some signals, some field, some ripple that moves no faster than the speed of light. That's the theory of relativity, right? Together, these beliefs create what is called local realism, a picture of reality as a vast cosmic machine woven from independently existing parts, each carrying its own preset instructions, communicating only through local contact. That's the way, by the way, we are communicating right now, through photons. This is the metaphysics behind our everyday sense of me in here and the world and you out there. It's the story of separate objects, separate minds, separate lives. Then quantum phenomena arrive like a koan. Imagine two particles born together in a single event, like twins emerging from one womb and then drifting to opposite sides of the universe. Quantum theory says they are not simply two objects with two sets of pre-written properties. They are better described as one shared state stretched across space. When we measure one, we get a definite result. When we measure the other far away, maybe even in a different galaxy, we get a result that is mysteriously, precisely correlated with the first in a way that cannot be explained by any set of pre-existing local interactions. These are not just poetic images. You tickle the universe here, it laughs there instantly. So, not just poetic images. Over decades, physicists have tested these correlations again and again, closing loopholes, moving the detectors further apart, choosing measurement settings at the last moment. Each time, the universe answers the same way. I'm not made of separate, locally pre-programmed pieces in the way you imagined. John Bell translated this mystery into a sharp question. Can any theory that keeps both locality and realism still match what we see in these entangled experiments? He proved that if you insist on that picture, definite local properties, no faster than light connections, then the correlations between distant measurements must obey certain limits. But nature does not obey those limits. Experimentally, the correlations go beyond what local realist story can allow. So the old package, the world is built from separate objects with their properties already in place, interacting only locally, is not just incomplete, it is wrong. Local realism is not an ultimate description of reality. The universe refuses to be boxed into separate, independently existing parts. What then does non-local really point to? It does not mean we can send messages faster than light or violate the practical rules of relativity. The non-locality is more subtle and in some ways more radical. It means that the outcomes of distant events are woven together in a way, I like the word matrix here. They're woven together in a way that cannot be decomposed into purely local pre-existing bits of information. It means that what happens here and what happens there are not fully independent facts sitting in separate boxes. From a non-local perspective, this is not surprising. If reality is a single, indivisible field of awareness, appearing as time, space, matter, and mind, then what we call entanglement is just the scientific face of an older intuition. The many, innumerable, are expressions of the one. Separation is a useful appearance, not an ultimate truth. So far, what I've spoken about is particles and experiments, but the real impact lands when we turn this around and look at our own experience. Local realism is not only a physical doctrine, it is a psychological habit. We experience ourselves as local, me, sealed behind the eyes, looking at a world of objects, people, and events that exist independently of us. Yet the universe that physics reveals does not fit this picture. There is no clean line between out there and in here. No set of absolutely independent parts with fully predefined properties waiting passively for our observation. What if your own awareness is not a tiny local observer trapped in a separate body, but an expression of the same non-local field that shows up in these quantum correlations? What if consciousness is not in the universe, but the universe is appearing in consciousness? So in that light, non-locality stops being just a technical term and becomes a pointer. You are not as separate, as local, or as fixed as you were taught to be. We began with a simple question: what does it mean to say local realism is dead and the universe is non-local? On one level, it means our old classical picture of separate, locally interacting objects cannot account for what nature does. On another level, it invites a deeper recognition. Reality is more unified, more relational, more mysterious than any story of isolated parts. So as you move through your day, you can hold this as an abstract scientific fact, or you can let it soften the sense of rigid separation. The stranger the universe appears, the more clearly It may be whispering an ancient truth. There is only one indivisible one, the divine, playing as many. The experiment is happening now as you, the divine self. This moment of awareness, seamlessly non-local and effortlessly whole. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma.